A very good morning to all of you. I welcome you all to Baji Rao IAS Academy. Today is 27th June 2023. This is the Hindu editorial analysis. In today's editorial page, we have different articles which will be helpful for your exam preparation. So, without wasting any time, let's move into the articles. Okay, this is the quotation of the day. Today is your opportunity to build the tomorrow you want. Ken Poirot. What he is saying, if you want to do any work, you should see today, that's this day, as an opportunity for you. You should not postpone your work to some other day, because you will not get this today in future, because the only permanent thing you have is today, not yesterday and not tomorrow. You have only today. You should use this as your opportunity, and you should work each and every second to make your tomorrow as a better one. This is the yesterday's question. With reference to the expenditure made by the organization or a company, which one of the following statements are correct? Acquiring new technology is essential. Sorry, acquiring new technology is a capital expenditure. And second statement is debt financing is considered capital expenditure, while the equity financing is considered revenue expenditure. Here, the answer for this question is the first statement is correct. Acquiring new technology will be considered as capital expenditure. But in case of second statement, this second statement is wrong, because debt financing is considered capital expenditure, and also the equity financing should also be considered as a capital expenditure. So the second statement is wrong. The answer for this question is option A, one only. Okay, guys, this is the today's question. Which one of the following is are the exclusive powers of the Lok Sabha? First statement, to ratify the declaration of emergency. Second statement, to pass a motion of no confidence against the Council of Ministers. And third statement, to impeach the President of India. Select the correct answer using the code given below. Option A 1 and 2, option B 2 only, option C 1 and 3, option D 3 only. Friends, try to give answer for this question in comment section. In tomorrow's discussion, we will give answer for this question. These are the important news article, guys. And today we have these four important articles. We will look into this article very elaborately. First, let me introduce these articles to you in a very crisp manner. First article, a grand revival. India and Egypt have re-established close ties in recent years. See, guys, because of our Prime Minister Modi's visit to Egypt, we are regularly having certain important articles regards the India-Egypt relation. In today's article also, they are trying to emphasize and they try to give the color picture about the India-US relation, what is the positive aspect, and the author also tried to give in what approach India should have the bilateral relation, how the Egypt will get benefit from our India's friendship, and how the Egypt will work together with India will create the global South as a big multipolar world. In the multipolar world, the global South will play a big important role. For that, India and Egypt role is very important. So the article explains this kind of perspective in the India-Egypt relation. What is the second article? The second article is, we all know, yeah, military mutiny has occurred in Russia. With the Belarus president intervention, the mutiny has been solved, and the Russia has been saved from the internal security problem. Even though the Russia has been saved from the internal security problem, Vladimir Putin, who is president of Russia, has been failed in certain perspective. We will look why he got failed in certain perspective and what is the reason behind this mutiny. We will look into this whole problem in a holistic manner. And the third article is laying the foundation stone for a future ready digital India. In our parliament, recently they introduced a bill, information technology bill, digital India bill. So regarding this article, the author has tried to give how we want to regulate the digital India. In digital India, in this perspective, we have many intermediary platforms who act who act as a communication platform, who just act as a video sharing platform. There are many platforms, and how these different intermediates should be regulated, and how India can um, ensure the accountability from these multilateral companies. And last article is the reduced ceiling, increased anger. This article is related to the financial condition in Kerala due to some centers order. The financial problem has arisen in the Kerala. We will look at this article from different perspective. Okay, guys. Without wasting any time, let's move into the first article for the day. We all know, guys, our Prime Minister Modi ji has visited Egypt. In this article, the author has tried to give some important points which we have not discussed in our previous article. I will discuss these points. You just add on these things in your notes so that your notes will become holistic for your exam preparation. First, India Egypt relation has started with the Friendship Treaty of 1955, and after that, India's support to Egypt, including during the Suez Canal crisis in the 1956. Eventually, this led to the formation of non-aligned movement in the 1961. So, guys, since from 1950s, we are having good friendship relation with the Egypt country. In previous articles, I have mentioned you, we have very good historical relations because both countries had the civilizational culture. Both are the cradle for human civilization. So these are historical perspective. In today's article, they are just explaining after the post-independent phase. And the Egypt also become the part of the G77, and also it played a very important role in the South-South cooperation initiatives. Even during the Cold War, India and Egypt were united over their desire not to become the camp followers of either the US or the Soviet Union. You all know, guys, during the Cold War, US and USSR were fighting to get success for their ideological war. For example, US is supported for capitalism, USSR fought for the communism, but we India took the middle path and we followed the non-aligned movement. Same like us, India, the Egypt also tried to follow the middle path. And even in the recent Russia-Ukraine war, same like India, the Egypt also took the middle path, and they always tried for the diplomatic resolution of the issue. So in the last year, when the Russia-Ukraine war started, the wheat import to Egypt has been affected. I discussed in the previous article, guys, Egypt is the biggest importer of wheat in the world. So, due to this war, the wheat import for Egypt has been affected. At that situation, we India entered into the scene and we helped the India with the wheat export. So, because of this act of India, our image in the Egypt has increased to a very good level, because even the Black Sea Grain Initiative, they came after the India's help only. They came late and we helped them suddenly with a very effective manner. So our position in India, India's position in Egypt has got increased. So this is how our relation has been becoming strengthening in recent days. And also, if you see, I have mentioned in you in previous article, our Prime Minister planned to visit the Al Hakim Mosque, which is built by the Dawood Bora community, and meeting with Egypt's Grand Mufti. Our Prime Minister Modi will also plan to visit the Grand Mufti who spoke against the terrorism in the world. So, because of this gesture of our Prime Minister Modi ji, the negative mark on his political history, that is not giving importance to the Muslim world, has been disregarded with his act here. Because now he is trying to meet those community which the other people say he not give importance, but it is not the true thing. Our Prime Minister see everyone as equal in his view, and we also know the Egypt government has conferred the highest order of the nation, that is the Order of the Nile, to our Prime Minister Modi ji. If you see past history, it has been conferred on only few persons who have worked for the welfare of Egypt or for the welfare of humanity, and they did the invaluable service. On this ground only, the order of the Nile will be given. So, because of our Prime Minister Modi's invaluable service, the order of the Nile has been conferred for Indian Prime Minister. See, now our strength has been very bolstered in a very good manner. Now, what is their view? What the both leaders are thinking to develop? They are trying to focus on the multilateral issues. India's close ties in Egypt's neighborhood, especially Israel and Saudi Arabia. India want to become a stronghold in this area because it want to ensure the good relation with the neighborhood of the Egypt region, and also food and energy security constraints, and also building more cooperation with the global south, including the African Union. We all know, guys, if any one country can empower the African Union, it is the India, and if any one country can promote the global south, that is the definitely India, because India should be empowered for the empowerment of the world. In March, Egypt joined the new development bank set up by the BRICS country. So, what the author is trying to say here, both India and Egypt are working together in many aspects and many perspectives. They are trying to become the good strongholder in different areas. So, let's move into the another article, guys. Rebellion in Russia. See, we all know Vladimir Putin, who is here. He's very famous, very famous leader in the world. He never let any internal security problem in Russia. But what happened now? What is the situation with Russia? How this Wagner group this much? How this Wagner group become very big threat to the Indian presidency? First, moving into the article, we all should know what is the background for Wagner group. Who is this Wagner group? The Wagner group is an powerful private army in Russia. When it was created in 2000s, when the Russian President Vladimir Putin came to the regime, he tried to create the private army, and he employed for that private army as an head a very close ally who is Prigozhin himself, who used to serve food for the Russian President Vladimir Putin. So, because he became very close with that Prigozhin, he made the same Prigozhin as an head of the Wagner group. Who are made of the Wagner group? Who will be included in the Wagner group? The prisoners who have committed the big crimes and they are sentenced in the jail, they will be included in the Wagner group to serve for the nation. And also other mercenaries are included in the Wagner group. How this Wagner group become very strong? Once they started to form in the 2000, they were very less in strength. But at the present day, it is near about 50,000 people who are in the Wagner group. What is the role of Wagner group? If you see, guys, in the African continent, the Russia tried to have good relationship with the African country governments, but Russia won't involve directly by employing their own military force. They send the Wagner group into the African continent. This Africa's group entered into the this Wagner group entered into the Africa's lawless religion, and they tried to help the government to stop the coup, and they tried to protect the mines. They tried to acquire the mines in the African region. They will try to establish, or they will try to stronghold the corporations in the African region. Because of all these activities, Russia's influence in the African region has increased. So basically, you can say because of the Wagner group only, the Russian stronghold in the African group has been strengthened. Because of this only, Kremlin, which is Russia, has become the powerful player in the African region. So the Wagner group is very powerful. If you think of the recent Russia-Ukraine war in May 2022, the war has started. When the war, well, sorry, it is in the February, May 20, February, Feb 2022. When the war was started, the Russian army tried to enter the Ukraine region, but the Russian army failed in a very bad manner. They can't able to get over the Ukraine region. So then the Wagner group has been employed to get into the Ukraine region. Then because of this Wagner group, the Russia got the upper hand in the war, and they get victory over the two important region, which is Solidar and the Bakhmut. Bakhmut both were held by the and led by the Wagner group. So because of all this activity, the Wagner group has become very important organization in Russia. Now, what is the problem? Why it all get started? I already told you guys. Prigozhin, he is a Prigozhin. He has been appointed as the head of the Wagner Group, and here he is the chief of staff. He is the head of the army in the Russia, who is employed from the government perspective. He is the government head for the government military. He is the private head for the private military. Are you all getting me, guys? Yes. Now the problem has started with the conflict between these two people. Why? Because Wagner, from in Wagner group, Prigozhin has led that Wagner group, and they tried to get deployed in the Ukraine. Wagner group tried to fight in the Ukraine, and they captured the Bakhmut in the Ukraine's Donetsk region. What happened in Feb 2023? Prigozhin, this guy, has accused us the Russia's defense minister Sergei Shoigu. Sergei Shoigu. Sorry guys, I can't pronounce it properly. The defense minister name is Sergei Shoigu, and the top general is Valery Gerasimov. Valery Gerasimov. This is Valery Gerasimov. So Prigozhin has accused that both the person Sergei Shoigu and the top general Valery Gerasimov of withholding the ammunition and supplies for his fighters. Basically, guys, even though the Wagner group has been employed to fight in the Ukraine, the Wagner group not get any basic ammunition to fight there. So the Wagner group leader Prigozhin has criticized both this defense minister and the defense leader. What happened in the May 2023? Wagner forces capture Bakhmut. Even without having any help from the Russian government, Russian military personnel, the Wagner group has captured the Bakhmut. And in June month, Prigozhin claims Shoigu and Gerasu misled Putin into invading Ukraine. The conflict between these head of the private army and government army has become very vast one, and the Prigozhin has directly criticized the Putin that Putin has took the wrong decision to invade the Ukraine. What happened in June 10? Shoigu gives Prigozhin 21 days to place his troops under the defense ministry command. So, because of this, Prigozhin refuses the demand and Shoigu's dismissal. What happened, guys? After capturing the Bakhmut region in the Ukraine, the Russian defense ministry and the defense general, who have not given the support for the this Wagner group, now they are saying come and stay under the defense ministry. They are saying the private ministry should also come and join with the government ministry, and they should come under the this government order. So because of this order, the Wagner group leader Prigozhin has denied that order, and he don't want to join the government army. He want to stand as a private army itself, because already they have very clear clarity fight between these people, so they don't want to come under the government army. They want to be as a permanent private army. So that is the issue, guys. The government has tried to bring them under the government itself, but they want to stay in the private army itself because they don't get any benefit from the government, so they don't like the government. So that is what happened. Yes, guys. In June 23, Prigozhin accuses Shoigu of missile attack on a camp of Wagner personnel. See, because of that conflict, what already occurring between the both the leaders, Prigozhin and the Shoigu. Now the fire for big blast has been started with the missile attack on the Wagner Group. Sudden missile attack happened over the Wagner Group, and the Wagner chief Prigozhin accuses the Shoigu for the attack. So, because of this small fire, it has been turned into the big blast. And June 24, Wagner forces take a regional military headquarters in the Rostov-on-Don, and the Wagner advances far as Kherson. What happened, guys? On June 24, this Wagner group has become very ferocious, and they want to capture the Kremlin. So they started moving from the southern Russia to the northern Russia to from here. This is Rostov on Don, from here to the Moscow. They reached up to the Krasno region. From here, near it's about 330 kilometers. They stopped at the Krasno region. Krasno region. Now, what happened at the Krasno region? When they reached up to this area, and this man has entered into the scene. Who is he? He is a president of Belarus, whose name is Lukashenko. He entered into the scene and he tried to facilitate agreement between the Prigozhin and the Russian government. What is the demand of the Prigozhin? The Prigozhin demanded that both the defense minister and the defense general should resign from their post, and the life threat for Prigozhin should be decreased, and the other members who are in the Wagner group, they should not be charged in the criminal cases. All the demands of Prigozhin were accepted, and also the Prigozhin got the state security asylum in the Belarus region. He will now move into the Belarus region. So this is the totally political strategy, guys. If you see this, it looks like a chess game. Because of Russian President Vladimir Putin, the Lukashenko entered into the scene, because it is the political tactic which our Vladimir Putin has used here. He don't want to fight directly with the Wagner group. If he fight directly with the Wagner group, it will create the internal security problem and many more dilemmas in the people itself, because the people will can't fight with the both armies, because both are part of their own country. So it will become very big dilemma for the government and the President Putin to solve this problem. So they try to create peace for the temporary period. Let's see in future what happens. I hope in future definitely some news will come, like uh, Prigozhin has been died by falling from somewhat big building. He has been died by slipping into the bathroom. Somewhat this kind of small news will come in future. Let's see what happens. And now the case is about how the Russia came over this internal security problem. Even though the Russia has escaped from the recent security problem, it has opened the debate over the Russia. It has become the clear the internal security is not strong in the Russia. It has also become clear that Russian president has become in its regime. He cannot able to stop the war, because if you are a president, you should ensure both the private army and government army should be under you. But Putin has failed to ensure that both his military, private military, and the government military are not in control. So these are the different problems with Russia, guys. Let's see in future what happens. Let's move into the another article, laying the foundation for a future ready digital India. We all know, guys, to ensure the accountability from different social media platforms, we have the Information Technology Act 2000. See, it has nearly about 23 years. It has not revised this act, but recently in 2023, we have tried to bring in the Digital India Bill to create the holistic environment for the digital companies and to create the privacy security for all the citizens in India. Now, what the author has tried to say here, first he tried to mention the flaws in the IT Act 2000. He said the current IT Act, which is the IT Act 2000, Information Technology Act 2000, defines an intermediary as an any entity between a user and the internet. Basically, it's saying the intermediary, whoever comes between the user and the internet, these guys will be considered as intermediary. If you think intermediary, there are many people who comes under the intermediary, like WhatsApp, Facebook, e-commerce businesses, and also the Messenger, Twitter. These are many intermediary people. Even the normal message text, so same Telegram. These are different people who act as intermediary between the user and the internet. Now, after a few days, we got the IT rules. With these IT rules, the intermediaries got into three main categories. What are the three main categories? First one is social media intermediaries. Second one, significant social media intermediaries. And the third one is, which got recently created, online gaming intermediaries. If the social media intermediaries, for example, WhatsApp, Facebook, these are social media Twitter, these are social media intermediaries. But when the subscriber for this app or the subscriber for the social media has become in a very significant number, the number will make this social media intermediary as an significant social media intermediaries. And also, you know what is the online gaming intermediaries. We nowadays we all know Dream 11, Rummy Kelo. There are different apps which conduct the online gaming in India. Now, what is the problem in the current act? The problem is the definition of SMI, which is the social media intermediaries. The definition of social media intermediaries is so broad that it include all the person as an intermediary. It does not create any difference between the different people, and they try to see everyone in a similar way. So because of this, whenever they try to bring any provision, or when they try to bring any strict actions for the intermediaries, it made applicable to all the platforms whoever act as the intermediaries. For example, if you think in the case of intermediaries, we have different peoples, we have websites, we have platforms, we have e-commerce platforms, and we have all cloud services. They all are treated similarly. Because of this, our governance over the information technology and privacy is not good. Because if you consider the same stringent, if you created the same stringent provision over all the intermediaries, some small companies, some small social networks, they can't able to comply with your all the conditions. It will create the bad working condition for those intermediaries. Are you all getting me, guys? See, if we create the stringent obligation, then it will become applicable for most of the intermediaries. Such as, sometimes we create the stringent obligation like 72-hour timeline for responding to the law enforcement questions, and also resolve the content takedown request. If our government requests to take down the any of the content from the online, they should act within the 72 hours. This stringent provision is applicable to all the intermediaries platform. So the author is saying here, it is not possible for all the intermediaries to work with that efficiency, how the big intermediate and the small intermediate will work. So the author has also suggested where the India should focus. Since we are trying to bring in the new Digital India bill, we want to create the product specific classification. Like, we want to create the classification regarding the different products. For example, e-commerce platform, very communication platform, and significant communication platform, just a video messenger platform. Like that, we want to create the different product specific classification so that we can improve the accountability of those platforms. But this cannot be ensured whether it will be fruitful in future or not, because in future these intermediaries will evolve. So just by having the definition in present day, we cannot ensure the future proof. So that is the author's view. Now what the author is saying here, we need classification frameworks that creates a few defined categories. We need to create the defined categories and requires the intermediaries to undertake risk assessments and that uses the information to bucket into relevant categories. See, whoever may be the intermediaries, these like WhatsApp, Telegram, Facebook, whoever may be this e-commerce platform, they want to take the risk assessment. They want to see how much information they are getting in. After the risk assessment, the information regarding this platform should be put into the different bucket so that we create the relevant categories for them. For WhatsApp, we have some relevant category. For social media platform groups, we have different category. For e-commerce platform, we will create the different categories. So likewise, based on the risk assessment of social media intermediaries, we want to categorize them. And the author is also saying we should give exemptions to the micro and small enterprises, because if we put the major obligations on the all the companies without any differences, it will create problem for the micro and small companies. In India, we don't only have very big companies as a social media intermediaries. We have micro and small industries also. And we want to clearly distinguish the communication services. Communication services means where the end users interact with each other from the other forms of intermediaries, such as search engines and online marketplace. If you think of the social intermediaries, we have digital communication network and the search engine and the online marketplaces. These are different categories. We cannot make same rules for all these process. We want to make different provisions for these different social media platforms, because it is communication service where two people involved together and the privacy may be affected in different way. Here it is a search engine. The people can search what they want. So here the privacy will be affected in different way. In case of online market, they will buy the different product. So in all these kind of platform, there will be different information which will be stored and leaked. So we want to ensure the privacy here. The working base for these three or all the intermediaries are different. So we want to categorize them, and according to that categories, we want to create the good stringent provisions for them. And also the author is saying if the intermediary is providing the communication services, they should conduct the risk assessments based on the number of their active users and the risk of harm and the potential for virality of harmful content. See, if any intermediary is providing the communication service, then that intermediary should conduct the risk assessment of their themselves own, and they want to ensure that number of active users and the risk to them should be reduced. So this is the basic thing author has tried to mention for the communication service. But in case of largest communication service like Twitter, if you see, Twitter has the many subscriptions from the India. So for this largest communication service, we should create these special obligations, like they want to appoint the Indian based officers, and also they want to set up the in-house grievance appellate mechanism with independent external stakeholders. Because with this independent audit like process, if we create the independent appellate mechanism, if we create the Indian based officers to look into the problem of this kind of communication services, it will bring the confidence in the people so that their privacy will also be ensured, and also the working condition for the communication servers intermediaries will also be ensured. And also only the big communication provider, big intermediaries are subjected to these high obligatory provisions, not the small communication provider, not the small intermediaries are subject to these harsh provisions. So basically the author has tried to say here, we want to categorize the intermediaries, and according to that categories we want to create the provisions for them to create the compliance. If we create the same provision for all the intermediaries, then it will create the bad work culture, and it will not promote the digital India, because it will lead to the barrier for all the intermediaries. So we want to create the different criterias and the different conditions for the different intermediaries, so that we ensure the good privacy security in the our digital India. So this is the last and final article, guys. Reduced ceiling and increased anger. What happened, guys? Recently, Kerala government has received an order, a letter from the Finance Ministry of the central government. In that, the central government has ordered the state government that they are allowed to borrow in the open market only up to the limit of rupees 15,390 crore. By seeing this amount, the state government has become shocked because if you see the Finance Commission recommendation, according to Article 293, Finance Commission will give the recommendation to the central government how much independence should be given to the state government in the case of borrowing provision. So our recent 15th Finance Commission has given recommendation to give the 3% of state gross domestic product as the criteria for the borrowings. So in case of Kerala government, if it calculates the 3% of gross state domestic product, it is near about 32,000 crore. But what the central government has ordered, it ordered they have the limit up to only the 15,000 crore. So near about 15,000 crore, the limit has been reduced. So because of this reducing limit, the Kerala government has become fearful and become anger because if you create the limit of 15,000 crore, how the state government will get more finances? It can't get more finances from the off budgeting. Off budgeting means the budget they try to borrow from the other resources which will not be shown in the budget. It will be considered as the off budget. It will not be included in the budget provisions. So what the central government has said, it should be up to only the 3% of GDP, but they have given the order of 15,000 crore. So the state has become anger and they asked the reason from the central government why the central government has given this provision. What is the reason behind this order? The center informed the state that the open market borrowing limit for 2023-2024 was set at 20,000 crore, of which Kerala has already got the 15,390 crore. What they saying in already for 2 month provision, Kerala got the 2,000 crore. So they get the limit for 15,390 crore because they constituted this for the limit for the next first 9 months, April to December 2023. What was the problem? Why they reduced this limit for the Kerala government? Because the central government is saying, in the central government's view, the Comptroller Auditor General of India warned that the off-budget borrowings by the state government has been very high in the recent past. You all know, guys, Kerala has the two important body, which is Kerala Infrastructure Investment Fund Board and the Kerala Social Security Pension Limited Board. These two boards tried to arrange the fund from other sources for the creation of infrastructure and for the social infrastructure, social security products. So they try to arrange the financial money. They try to collect money from different sources. They try to pool the money from different sources. But whatever money they try to create, whatever money they try to borrow, this borrowing are not shown in the budget. Basically, this borrowing are considered as the off budget. But even though it is an off budget borrowing, this is the very big liability on the Kerala government because one day Kerala government should pay this one. If they creating the borrowing money in a very large amount, at last in one day definitely they should give this debt money. Na? So what the CAG has said, because of this off budget borrowing by the Kerala bodies, Kerala will definitely fell into the debt trap. They will fell into the debt trap. So because of this fear only, the central government has put limit on the state government borrowing power. But even though the central government has given the reason that they are creating the off budget borrowing, so they put limit on the state borrowing power. The state government, the Kerala government, is not ready to accept this reason, so now they are moving to the Supreme Court. What is the view of Kerala government? Kerala government saying these are the off budget borrowing. This should not be considered as the fiscal deficit or a debt for a state government. Ultimately, guys, in center's opinion, if you see center's perspective is correct, from state perfect perspective, if you see the state perspective is correct, but you need to see in a impartial way. See, if the state government tried to create or tried to borrow as off budget borrowing, ultimately it is liability the state government should pay. So the center has said we will not give money. But what the state government saying, it is the off budget money, it should not be considered into the fiscal deficit or a debt. Because the state government has said one important provision here. The center itself, the state government has tried to give the argument here. The center itself not include its off budget borrowing into that fiscal deficit or the overall debt. Then why the central government is considering the Kerala government's off budget as the Kerala government debt or fiscal deficit? So this is the very interesting argument, guys. Let's see in future the Kerala government will move to the Supreme Court, and we will see what kind of judgment will come from the Supreme Court. Both the views are, from my perspective, they are correct from their own view, but there are certain financial problems with both the center and state. They should work cooperatively, coordinately in the fiscal field. Then only they will overcome this kind of fiscal deficit in India. This is the news article separately given, guys. In this chart they have tried to given that the climate trend has been changed in the June month. They tried to compare the nearly 70 years temperature record, especially for the June month. In the June month they have witnessed the maximum temperature for the June month has been reduced in the certain places, but the maximum temperature for certain places has been increased. Particularly, they are mentioning about the Chennai and the Chandigarh, friends. This red color given points are indicating the 2023 June days, and the white color or the gray color are mentioning the days of 1952 to 2022. See here, guys, in Chennai, the maximum temperature in the June, it has reached only 42.7 degrees Celsius, but in future it has been said that it reached more than the 42.7 degrees Celsius. So what they are saying, the maximum temperature of Chennai in July has got reduced. The same trend has been noticed in the Chandigarh. If you see the Chandigarh, the maximum temperature which it got in Chandigarh is near about 26.3 degrees Celsius, which is very low in the Chandigarh. But there are also the opposite trend. In June, in particular places like the Trivandrum, the maximum temperature of June month has reached the new height. See here, in June 15, the maximum temperature has reached 34.5 degrees Celsius. It is the first time it is reaching to that much level. It never reached that high temperature in the Kerala region, Trivandrum region. So here, from this article, in future we will get the different perspectives in climate change related article, guys. We will discuss in separate manner, and the reasons will be given in our future articles. We will look into those problems and solutions for this problem in future. Now let's move into the short news, guys. What the Madras High Court has given in the recent judgment. The Madras High Court has given the judgment caste will have no role to play in the appointment of temple priest. You all know, guys, archagas who do puja work if you go into the temple. So basically from the past days we used to have only Brahmin community, and who know the proper Vedas in the Brahmin, they become the priest in the temple. But what the High Court has said here, the caste is not the base for becoming the priest. Whoever knows the Vedas, whoever knows the mantras to spell there, they can become the priest. So this is a very good judgment regarding creation of equality in the society, guys. You can use this in the ethics paper. And the second news is Sri Lanka to restructure its domestic debt amid the challenges. We all know, guys, Sri Lanka has been witnessing the domestic economic problem in a very big way. It never witnessed this kind of economic recession in its past, but today it is under this kind of stress. Even they try to get $3 billion package from the IMF. So in Sri Lanka, they are trying to restructure their domestic debt. And third is City Union Bank plans to raise up the 500 crore rupees 500 crore through the qualified institutional placement. See, guys, the City Union Bank has been trying to increase their presence in the market. So they want to introduce new branches. They want to create new banks in the different regional places. So they need more finance. So what they are trying to do, they are trying to raise more money by giving the qualified institutional placement. What is this, guys? This is the way to get capital from the public to raise their own growth. If you see what is the qualified institutional placement, I hope you all have heard of this word, initial placement, where the venture capitalist, angel investor, these people try to invest in a particular company for the primary investment. But in case of the establishment of company, the company will try to give the secondary sales. After the initial public offering, they will give the follow-on public offering. Likewise, to create the capital, we are also having the separate provision, which means the qualified institutional placements, where the bank will try to the bank or company will try to sell their share to the qualified institutions who have the very good financial strength. If you see, we have the Tata company, Infosys, we have different companies. Also, we have different companies who have good capital. So these companies are the qualified institutions. So from these qualified institutions, our City Union Bank is trying to get capital from them. And the last news is ICC launches the Cricket World Cup trophy, and the tour is started in a spectacular fashion. We all know, guys, in 2023, India is going to host the Cricket World Cup for the 2023 year. They started the program, they started the tour by inculcating the trophy in the stratosphere. See this, guys, how beautiful it is. Nearly about above 1,20,000 feet, they have placed this World Cup trophy. It will move around the world, and it will finally land in the Gujarat Gandhinagar Narendra Modi Stadium, where the first match will be conducted. So this is very interesting news, guys. I hope you people are waiting for this match, this World Cup. This time, definitely, we will win the World Cup, guys. Okay, let's pray to the God. Thank you so much, guys. This is the news article for today. I hope you all enjoyed well. If you liked the video, please press the like button. If you want me to suggest anything, you in the comment section, guys. And don't forget to press the subscriber button. Along with that, also try to touch the bell icon so that you get all the notification regarding the videos which we post in the Baji Rao IAS Academy. Thank you, guys. Have a very nice day.